basically stating that she hates that Christmas has to be this way. There's never been any direct conversation in person, and a lot of the conversations that were on the phone that happened last December were evasive, just like we saw in the video.
So when did they last see her to touch her? Hugs?
When she went off to college, so that would have been last year.
December.
At the intervention table.
At
2016.
December 2016.
And where was she living when she went off to college? Where was she living with her parents?
She was actually living on campus.
What campus is that?
Georgia Gwinnett College.
Repeat that one more time.
Georgia Gwinnett College in Morris, Georgia.
And also, every family is different, but this family is very close, which makes this very unusual, not to hear from their daughter, not to see their daughter.
What year was she at Georgia Gwinnett?
She just started June 2016.
So she would have been a freshman.
Yes.
So it's been almost, what, 8 months then since you've had contact? Is this just a situation she's getting into adulthood and she kind of wants to do her own thing? I mean,
I think it's more appropriate to look at the level of communication. When somebody becomes an adult, yes, they may stop talking to their family a little bit and enjoy their adulthood. But you don't cut off all communication with your family, with your friends, with the people that loved you and that raised you. This is disturbing, and that's why we simply want to have an in-person conversation with her to judge whether or not there is an issue. We believe that that's wholly appropriate for parents to want to do, whether a person is a minor or an adult. I mean, we all speak to our parents. We may not speak to our parents for 2 months. We don't go almost a year without speaking to your parents, and that's our concern.
And what's also disturbing is the communication that they got back was through, you see it on YouTube. It's not a text message. It's not coming to see her family. It's in a controlled environment in a room on TV. And that's not, any parent would want to see their daughter. And that is disturbing that that's the way that their daughter's communicating back to them. And that's not what we want. The Savage family wants her back so they can talk to her. They can see their daughter.
was there some sort of fight between Joselyn and the parents?
No, there was never any fight, any dispute. Her condition began to change. Her position began to change after she met Mr. Kelly.
Did you see a change in her on the 20th? Was there a change in the girl that went away in June to
Yes.
the one you last saw on December 20th?
Yes, the way she was dressing, the way she was talking, the way she answered questions, the way she interacted with her family, both her parents, but her grandmother, her sisters. There's been a complete change in the person that they knew as Joselyn Savage.
So she's not communicating with her younger sisters at all?
She briefly texted one of them.
On her birthday.
Yeah,
For
on
her
her
birthday. Right. That's it.
So to be clear, there was no strained relationship prior to her leaving you guys.
No, there was no strained relationship. The only thing that changed in the relationship was her beginning to correspond with Mr. Kelly.
And remember, this is a young girl that's going to school, and all of a sudden she's not going to school anymore. The roommate hasn't seen her. They come by to check her out. She's not there. So that's this situation. She's going to school, and all of a sudden she's not there anymore.
Cleaned out.
And her room was cleaned out.
And what was her birthday? You said the last contact with her sister? What day was her birthday on?
Her birthday was August 8th, the youngest sister.
Oh, just this month?
No.
What year? May 18th?
It was actually
sorry,
on May the
apologize.
18th.
May
She
18th.
was calling for her youngest sister birthday, and she had to hurry up and get off the phone, like it was something wrong. We tried to talk to her. She said, "I gotta go," and that's it. So with us loving our daughter, that was not the case. We knew something was wrong the way she rushed off the phone. You don't rush off the phone with your daughter. I mean, with your parents.
Not to mention, I think every parent can know when there's something that's off or something wrong with their child. You know your child from when they were born, so you know when something is not right. and that's the feeling that they have.
How long that conversation lasted about?
About 15 seconds, 30 seconds, less than that really.
How would you characterize her relationship with R. Kelly?
Well, yeah. We don't really know what the relationship is like because they've had limited contact with her since the relationship with Mr. Kelly started. So these are questions that we want to ask. You know, again, as concerned parents, that they're not trying to dictate their daughter's life. They're trying to make sure that their child is safe, secure, and protected. And that never ends as a parent, whether the child is 14, 24, 34, 44, or 54. I know that parenting does not stop. They know that parenting does not stop. And this is simply a request to meet in person with Joselyn Savage to discuss her health, safety, and well-being, and then it will proceed from there. So we're asking Mr. Kelly to allow Joselyn to come home to speak to her family. We know Mr. Kelly will be here August the 25th. That will be a perfect opportunity to allow Joselyn to meet with her parents and have a conversation. We will again reach out to representatives of Mr. Kelly, but we want her returned as soon as possible. Call your parents. You FaceTime your parents. You have a conversation with them saying, Mom, Dad, I'm safe, I'm eating, here's where I'm living. You guys can make contact with me, but I'm gonna live my life, but I want you to know, I want my grandparents to know, I want my sisters to know I'm fine. You don't go on a video and say, I can't speak on that right now. I'm not gonna answer these particular questions. Those are the concerns that any parent would have, and those are the concerns that my clients have.
So you believe she was being coached while the video was being taped?
I believe that there was another individual present. I don't know if it was coaching going on or anything like that, but we are concerned. We want to see her in person. That is a reasonable request, and we would like for that request to be met.
And what is the feeling you get when you reach out to R. Kelly's representatives, and how do they respond to you?
Well, at this point, we haven't received a response. Hopefully, they will respond in kind, and we will be able to negotiate a resolution to this particular incident, in this particular case, very soon.
And Mr. Savage did not drop his daughter off?
No, Mr. Savage has never met Mr. Kelly. Mr. Savage did not coordinate any type of interaction between Mr. Kelly. It was strictly a business arrangement for the production of music for his daughter. And, you know, Ms. Savage did fly out, met with Mr. Kelly for about 3 hours, discussed business, and then it was determined that somehow Joselyn and Mr. Kelly got in contact with each other, and that's how this proceeded. But no, Mr. Savage did not have anything to do with that.
You said Miss Savage actually met with R. Kelly?
Yes.
What's the date on that?
That would have been
Approximately, it was in 2015 at one of the shows in Indio, California, and it is in the BuzzFeed article. I can't recall the exact date.
Oh.
It's all documented in the BuzzFeed article.
Can you talk about the nature of that meeting? What did you guys discuss?
It was completely business. It was about her music career. That's what the nature of any contact with Mr. Kelly would have been, and it would have been a completely business relationship. Had they have entered into negotiations, I'm sure attorneys would have been involved and business managers, but that didn't occur because phone numbers were exchanged and things didn't go particularly business manner. So that's what happened.
So in that 3 hours, you didn't feel any sense of uncomfortability talking to R. Kelly?
Well, when you're directing your questions directly to the attorney.
Yeah. No. They talked about music. They listened to music. They talked about their daughter's career, and they talked about the next steps in her musical career. That was the whole purpose of meeting with Mr. Kelly.
Did he sound like somebody like he wanted to sign? She had potential. What was the discussion like?
Well, obviously there were going to be continued protracted discussions, so it seemed like a mutually beneficial business arrangement for the purposes of furthering her musical career.
So what happened after that meeting?
After that meeting, some way, Mr. Kelly remained in contact with Ms. Savage, and then ultimately Ms. Savage went to reside with Mr. Kelly. And so, again, the purpose of all of this is to make sure that both Mr. Kelly and Ms. Savage know that the parents are deeply concerned about her safety, well-being, They want an in-person meeting with her to determine whether or not she is in fact safe, and they can open a line of communications directly with her. That's their request. We would like that request met as soon as possible. The meeting can be set up as soon as August the 25th when Mr. Kelly is in the state of Georgia. I think that's all the questions we're going to answer today.
Yeah, I'll ask one question, more question there.